Right now, there's a version of you that deserves to die. Not the body, not the mind, but the pathetic, apologetic, permission-seeking thing living inside your chest. The one that flinches at confrontation. The one that swallows insults and calls it patience. The one that bends, breaks, and begs for scraps of validation from people who wouldn't cross the street to save you. That version of you has been fed, nurtured, and protected your entire life by parents who taught you to be harmless, by teachers who rewarded obedience over excellence, by a system that needs you weak, controllable, predictable. And you believed them. You wore your softness like armor. You called your fear wisdom. You mistook your weakness for morality. But deep down, you know the truth. That weakness has cost you everything. The woman who left because you weren't man enough. The promotion that went to someone less qualified but more aggressive. The respect you never earned because you never demanded it. Every humiliation, every rejection, every moment you felt invisible, it all traces back to one source, the weak man inside you. Machiavelli knew this centuries ago. He understood that the world doesn't reward the good. It rewards the strong, and strength isn't something you're born with. It's something you forge by destroying everything inside you that makes you soft. This video is your execution chamber, not for your body, but for your weakness. And by the end, that weak version of you will be dead, buried, forgotten. What rises in its place will be something the world has no choice but to respect. Watch closely, because there's no going back from here. You weren't born weak. You were programmed. Trained like a dog to sit, stay, obey. From the moment you could speak, the conditioning began. Don't be too loud. Don't take up too much space. Share. Be nice. Think of others first. And every time you obeyed, you were rewarded. A pat on the head, a smile, a good boy. But every time you showed strength, every time you stood your ground, every time you said no, you were punished, shamed, isolated, told you were selfish, aggressive, wrong. You learned to shrink yourself, to soften your voice, to apologize before you even spoke. You learned that being weak kept you safe, kept you liked, kept you accepted. And now, decades later, that programming runs so deep you don't even see it. You think your hesitation is thoughtfulness. You think your people-pleasing is kindness. You think your inability to say no is empathy. But it's not. It's cowardice dressed in virtue. That voice in your head, the one that stops you from speaking up, the one that tells you to wait, to be careful, to not make waves, that's not you. That's the inner servant, the slave, the good little boy who still believes if he's nice enough, good enough, quiet enough, the world will reward him. But the world doesn't work that way. The world respects one thing: power. And power doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being feared. Machiavelli said it plainly. It is better to be feared than loved if you cannot be both. Why? Why? Love is fragile. Love disappears the moment you stop serving someone's needs. But fear is permanent. Fear makes people think twice before they disrespect you. Fear makes them calculate before they test you. Fear keeps the wolves at bay. And if you want to survive in this world, you need to become the kind of man people fear to cross. But first, you have to kill the servant, the weak man, the one who still apologizes for existing. And that starts with one brutal realization. No one is coming to save you. No one is going to give you permission to be strong. No one is going to hand you respect on a silver platter. You either take it or you stay weak. Those are your only options. Choose. Most men spend their entire lives trying to be understood. They explain themselves endlessly. They justify their choices. They beg people to see their intentions, their heart, their truth, and they wonder why no one respects them. Here's why. Explanation is weakness. When you explain, you're asking for approval. When you justify, you're admitting doubt. When you defend, you're signaling that their opinion matters more than your reality. Machiavelli understood this. He knew that powerful men don't explain. They decide. They act, they move forward, and let others scramble to keep up. Because here's the truth about respect. It's not given to the man who asks. It's given to the man who expects, the man who walks into a room like he already owns it, the man who speaks like his words are final, the man who doesn't flinch when challenged, because he doesn't need validation from anyone. You want to kill the weak inside you. Stop explaining yourself. Stop defending your choices to people who have no stake in your life. Stop seeking understanding from those who will never give it. When someone questions you, don't argue, don't justify, just say, I've decided. When someone challenges you, don't defend, don't explain, just stare. Let them sit in the discomfort of their own irrelevance, because the moment you stop needing their approval, you gain something far more valuable, their fear. Think about the most powerful people you know, not the loud ones, not the ones who demand attention, but the ones who command it without effort. Do they explain themselves? Do they justify their decisions? Do they beg to be understood? Never. They move in silence. They speak in certainties. They make choices and the world adjusts. That's power, and it starts the moment you stop treating your life like a debate and start treating it like a decree. Here's what the weak man does. He overshares. He tells everyone his plans, his struggles, his doubt. He thinks transparency makes him trustworthy, but all it does is make him predictable, exploitable, easy to defeat. Because the more people know about you, the more they know where to strike. Your fears become their leverage. Your doubts become their ammunition. Your weaknesses become their advantage. Machiavelli warned about this. He said, everyone sees what you appear to be. Few experience what you really are. Control the narrative. Show only what serves you. Hide everything that exposes you. Become a mystery. Let people wonder what you're thinking. Let them guess your next move. Let them fear what they don't understand. Because mystery is power, and the man who reveals too much is the man who gets destroyed. Stop confessing your weaknesses to people who will weaponize them. Stop sharing your plans with those who secretly hope you fail. Stop seeking advice from people who have never won. Guard your inner world like a fortress. Let people see only the walls, never the cracks, because the moment they see vulnerability, they'll exploit it. Not because they're evil, because they're human, and humans are wired to dominate weakness. But honesty without strategy is just stupidity. The world doesn't reward openness, it rewards control. So be honest when it serves you, lie when it protects you. Show vulnerability when it builds trust. Hide it when it invites attack. This is survival. And if you're too moral to survive, you won't last long enough to matter. Let's talk about the deadliest form of weakness. Niceness. You've been told your whole life that being nice is a virtue, that kindness is strength, that if you treat people well, they'll treat you well in return. And it's a lie that has destroyed more men than war, disease, and famine combined. Because niceness isn't kindness. Niceness is fear. Fear of conflict, fear of rejection, fear of being disliked. Machiavelli saw through this centuries ago. Endure. He watched kings lose their thrones because they were too merciful. He watched leaders get betrayed because they were too trusting. He watched good men die while ruthless men thrived. And he concluded something brutal. The world belongs to those willing to do what nice men won't. Not because cruelty is noble, but because niceness is weakness disguised as virtue. Think about the nice guy, the one who always says yes, the one who never makes waves, the one who bends over backward to please everyone. Is he respected? Is he feared? No, he's used. He's the doormat, the safety net, the backup plan. He's the guy people call when they need something, then ignore when they don't. And he convinces himself that his niceness will eventually pay off. But it never does, because people don't respect what they can easily access. You want to know why women don't choose the nice guy, why bosses promote the aggressive one, why friends abandon the agreeable one. Because niceness signals one thing: I have no boundaries. I will tolerate disrespect. I will bend until I break. And the moment people sense that, they lose respect, not because they're cruel, because boundaries command respect. And the man with no boundaries is not a good man. He's a weak man pretending goodness will save him. Kill that man. Kill the need to be liked. Kill the compulsion to please. Kill the fear of saying no. Because every time you say yes when you mean no, you're not being kind. You're being a coward. You're teaching people they can take from you without consequence, and eventually they'll take everything. Your time, your energy, your respect, your life, and you'll have no one to blame but yourself. Here's the dark truth. Kindness is only powerful when it's backed by the capacity for cruelty. When a strong man is kind, it's a gift. When a weak man is kind, it's desperation. The strong man can afford to be generous because people know he can also be ruthless. The weak man is generous because he's afraid of what happens if he's not. One is respected, the other is exploited. Which one are you? From this moment forward, be kind to those who deserve it. Be ruthless to those who don't, and never ever confuse being harmless with being good, because a good man protects. A good man provides. A good man defends what he values, and you cannot do any of that if you're weak. Strength is not optional. It is the price of survival, and if you refuse to pay it, the world will devour you. Now let's address the thing that keeps most men weak. You think you're independent. You think you're self-sufficient, but the moment someone withholds attention, affection, or approval, you collapse, you panic, you chase, you beg. That's not love, that's addiction, and it's the most dangerous weakness a man can have, because the moment someone knows you need them, they own you. Machiavelli would tell you this: the man who depends on others for his sense of self will always be their servant. He will betray his own values to keep their approval. He will abandon his goals to avoid their rejection. He will shrink himself to fit their expectations, and in doing so, he'll lose the one thing that makes him worthy of respect. You need to build yourself in such a way that you remain the same, whether people love you or leave you, whether they praise you or ignore you, whether they're with you or gone. Because in this world, people will leave. They will change. They will forget you. And if your identity is tied to them, you'll collapse the moment they're gone. But if your identity is built on something internal, something untouchable, you become invincible. Stop needing love to feel lovable. Stop needing validation to feel worthy. Stop needing company to feel whole. Most people are terrified of being alone because it exposes how weak their foundation is. They need noise, distraction, attention, anything to avoid sitting with themselves. But solitude is the test. If you can sit alone with your thoughts, with no one watching, no one validating, no one saving you, and still feel whole, you become dangerous. This is the ultimate form of power: to need nothing from anyone, not their love, not their approval, not their presence. When you reach this state, you become untouchable. Because now, people can't manipulate you. They can't control you. They can't hurt you. You've removed every lever they could pull. And in their confusion, they'll either chase you or fear you. Either way, you win. But understand this: becoming emotionally independent doesn't mean you reject connection. It means you no longer collapse without it. You can love someone without needing them. You can enjoy company without depending on it. You can accept praise without craving it. That's freedom. And it's a freedom weak men will never experience because they're too afraid to let go of the very chains that enslave them. Kill the need. Kill the dependency. Kill the part of you that still believes someone else can complete you, because you are already whole. You were always whole. You just forgot. And the moment you remember, the moment you reclaim your sovereignty, you become the kind of man no one can touch. the kind of man Machiavelli would respect. Let's end with the final execution. The death of your weakness in the face of rejection. A woman says no, and they spiral. A job rejects them, and they crumble. A friend walks away, and they collapse. Why? Because they took it personally. They believed rejection meant something about their worth. But Machiavelli would laugh at that. He'd say, rejection is not about you. It's about position. It's about timing. It's about what others need in that moment. And none of that has anything to do with your value. You want to kill the weak man inside you. Stop fearing rejection. Stop avoiding it. Stop letting it define you. Instead, reframe it. Every rejection is data. Every no is information. Every closed door is redirection. The woman who rejected you, she just told you she's not aligned with your path. The job that turned you down, they just saved you from wasting time in the wrong place. They just revealed they were never worthy of your loyalty. Rejection is a filter. It removes the wrong people, the wrong opportunities, the wrong paths. And if you're smart, you'll use it. You'll learn from it. You'll let it sharpen you, but you will never, ever let it break you. Because the man who fears rejection is a man who gives others power over his reality. And powerful men don't hand over their reality to anyone. Here's the dark move. When someone rejects you, don't react, don't chase, don't explain, vanish. Let them feel the weight of your absence. Let them wonder where you went. Let them realize, too late, what they lost. Because the man who disappears after rejection becomes a ghost in their mind, a missed opportunity. And that psychological haunting is far more powerful than any argument, any plea, any desperate attempt to change their mind. Machiavelli said, men should either be caressed or crushed. If you cannot win them over, make them irrelevant. So when someone rejects you, don't fight to stay in their life. Make your absence so loud they can't ignore it. Upgrade, evolve, succeed so visibly that they have no choice but to see what they gave up. And when they come back, and they will, you won't need to reject them. You'll have already moved so far beyond their reach that they'll reject themselves. This is how you kill the weak man inside you, not with violence, not with anger, but with evolution. You become someone rejection can't touch, someone criticism can't wound, someone betrayal can't break. You become untouchable, not because you feel nothing, but because you've trained yourself to feel only what serves your mission. Everything else is noise, and noise doesn't deserve your attention. You've now been given the execution orders. The weak man inside you, the one who hesitates, explains, pleads, bends, the one who seeks approval, fears rejection, needs validation, that man must die. Not tomorrow, not next week, today, right now, in this moment. You make the choice. You draw the line. You say enough. No more apologies. No more being the nice guy who finishes last. No more being the good man who gets used. From this moment forward, you are reborn, not as someone cruel, not as someone cold, but as someone who cannot be moved. You are no longer shaped by others. You shape the room. You set the rules. You decide who gets access and who gets nothing. You don't need to announce it. You don't need to prove it. You just become it. And the world will feel the shift. They'll see it in your walk, in your silence, in the way you no longer react, in the way you no longer chase, in the way you exist like you've already won. Machiavelli didn't write for the moral man. He wrote for the man who wants to survive, to dominate, to win. And winning in this world requires one thing: the death of everything inside you that makes you weak. So kill it, burn it, bury it, and rise as something the world has no choice but to respect. Because legends are not born. They are forged in the fire of their own destruction. And you just became the flame. Like this video if the weak man inside you is already dead. Subscribe if you're ready to become untouchable. Because this isn't self-help. This is war, and you just became a weapon.